Hi, it's Tuesday, the 27th of May 2014. On the 24th of May 2014, Saturday, I had a phone call from my brother-in-law to say that there were police outside the house. Apparently the police came inside his house at 27 Rabinia Close and went upstairs and went through all the rooms and came down and then just grabbed him and handcuffed him and arrested him and took him away and to Barkingside police station, Ilford police station. On the morning of later that morning, on the Saturday morning at around 10:30, I had a loud knock at 11:40. I had a loud knock at the door, and then I've got the video of the police coming to my property, saying that they're looking for my sister. They're worried for her welfare because she's vulnerable. And they spent 27 minutes at the property. Then they went to the neighbours, both sides, and they went into one of the neighbours' houses, making inquiries about the whereabouts of my sister. And then the next morning, 25th of May, when they came to my property, I informed them she's safe and well, that she's a victim of fraud, and that her baby died on 26th of October 2000. She was born on my birthday, 25th of May 2000, the baby. She was 5 months old when she died in the care of Social Services, London Borough of Redbridge. And I reported this to Barkingside police station, to the police, that the doctors were trying to kill the baby, and that my sister and her husband, Sadhna Chowdhury and Rajesh Kumar, had informed Social Services on the 23rd of October 2000 that the reason why that the doctors had taken out an emergency protection order whilst my niece was in hospital being given drug overdoses was that they intended to kill her because she was expensive. She was an Asian baby that was expensive. That's why they advised my sister and her husband to terminate the pregnancy, because she required a diaphragmatic hernia operation, which required the stomach to be pulled back from the left lung to the chest, from the chest to the abdomen. They didn't want to do the operation. They said she would die inside, and my sister, her parents decided that they would let nature take its course. They didn't want to take the life of the child away. And so the baby was born normal. She was born by normal delivery. She went full term. She didn't die at birth, and they were reluctant to do the operation because they didn't want to spend the money. The operation was a success. The baby made remarkable recovery. She went home at 2 months. She was 4 months old. She was normal. Her lungs were nearly normal. She was nearly off her oxygen. She was doing so well. Her dad was giving her a massage every day with olive oil, and the mum, they were giving her baths, singing to her, and I was singing to her, and I was going to see her every day. And the GP was telling my sister to wash the disposable syringes, saying they were costing 10 pence each for every hour for her sterile syringes for her milk. They were too expensive, and she had to re-sterilize them, reuse them, and therefore he gave an overdose of ranitidine, which was to dry the acid in the stomach, which she required to reduce the acid in her stomach whilst it was repairing, whilst it was premature. So the hospital continued with the overdoses. They were giving, the GP prescribed 150 milligrams twice a day instead of 3 milligrams 3 times a day. This went on for 5 days. My sister queried it with the home people, and they said, no, that's the right dose. And the hospital continued at 30 milligrams instead of 3 milligrams 3 times a day. And there was another 5 days of that, and the baby was going purple, and the doctors kept disconnecting her oxygen. And my sister was reconnecting the oxygen, and the doctors went and told social services that the mother was not acting in the best interest of her child, which was for it to die, and they removed my sister forcibly with an arrest warrant. And on the 20th of October 2000, the police, the Barkingside Police, Ilford Police, Social Services, and the protection officer. This is Maria Murphy. There was Peter Murphy involved, and the Redbridge. So we contacted Roger Hampson, Roger Hayes. Roger Hampson. Roger Hayes is of the the British Constitution Group, isn't it? There's another. Paul. There was can't remember all the individuals. Dr. David Robinson was a consultant paediatrician. Dr. Anand Shirsalkar was a paediatrician. Dr. Anil Suri was the GP. And the doctors that prescribed the overdoses were Dr. Padua, Dr. Saram Sakara, Dr. Shalebu, and so many others involved. And whilst we were in the court trying to overturn this protection order, Dr. Robinson was leaving the courtroom to make phone calls. Dr. Shalebu admitted that he received several phone calls from court and that he was ordered to go into baby's cubicle and start putting needles in her hands and needles in her neck to saying to start antibiotics. And the baby was, the lungs were filled with milk. When we got to the hospital, tried to resuscitate her, all this milk poured out and it wasn't clotted. Baby was pink, and there was potassium chloride prescribed on the drug chart, and she was given four doses of it in 12 hours before she died. And that is a known, it's the last injection in death row, and it's not detectable in the vitreous test for the eye jelly, which is never done in this country, toxicology. It's done in America and routinely, but the Great Ormond Street Hospital consultants who ordered her to parents not to be consulted in their protection order and for the oxygen to be removed and for her to die without a court order were Dr. Andranik Patros, Dr. Mark Peters, Dr. Dr. Christine Pierce and Dr. Quen Mock, and the pathologist was Dr. Professor Risdon, Anthony Risdon. The coroner was Dr. Elizabeth Stearns, and the police inspector that was involved in the investigation of the evidence that I gave to them of the drug overdoses, which were not considered by the jury at the inquest on the 11th of September 2001, the day of the Twin Towers, was in my expert report, which I gave to police, which is on the website http://Sunaina, that's SUNAINA 2007.tripod.com, and 2008, 2009 as well on the same website. There's no www, it doesn't work. So this, now what happened was we were demonstrating outside the hospitals. They put injunctions on us to stop collecting signatures for a public inquiry in 2001. Then we had collected 25,000 signatures from members of the public. We gave them to Downing Street and also the Great Ormond Street demonstrations outside the hospital there. The doctors took action. This is the 5 paediatricians and the pathologist, Brisbane. They wanted £100,000. Master Fontaine gave them £100,000. unless we signed a consent order to say we would not say that she was murdered. And we gave that consent under duress, and they put a permanent mandatory restraining order on myself and my sister, and anyone that we know, and our friends are also in it. Anyone that we know and anyone we speak to is also in it, in the restraining order, forbidden to talk about this subject. So my sister and her husband making ends meet, letting the rooms in their 3-bedroom house. The local council, this is now in 2010, keep harassing the family, making out false allegations they need a licence, multiple housing, multiple occupation,